Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
It's autopilot Dex today. Very, very nervous because he doesn't have to hit as many buttons for the new intro here. But it didn't crash. Here we are.
In the long run, it's actually a good thing, because to your point, I don't have to hit as many things as I'm used to hitting, but my muscle memory tells me to 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like a pilot doing pre-check, and now you're just telling me this plane flies itself?
That's
right.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
Do Judd's takes fly themselves? We'll find out.
Oh,
someday they will. Technically AI is already making that happen.
Juddbot.
Yeah.
The Juddbot 3000. Great old radio bit. So Judd's got a 53-man roster projection here that we're going to comb through. Kind of a light walkthrough type practice today as they ease into the 2 days of hellacious joint practice work against the Patriots. A shout out to Quick Trip. There's a Quick Trip just around the corner from the Vikings practice facility. You can probably find both of us at most days where I camp.
Why? Because once we're done, we're hot, we're thirsty, we probably want something to eat, and there's no better place to stop than Quick Trip to pick up whatever you might need. If you're watching this right now, you can see the array, the plethora, the multitude. I could go on and on describing how much Quick Trip has to offer, but here's a better plan. Why don't you go find out for yourself? You know what? It's Monday, right? It's Monday. It's back to work. It's mundane. Make your day a little less mundane by discovering, if you haven't already, the magic of Quick Trip. You also got the quality gasoline guarantee. You also can put the app on your phone and they will have what you order ready for you. It doesn't get better than that. Quick Trip is the place to stop.
Also, before we get into this 53-man roster projection, so all week long here across the Score North collection of podcasts, including here on Purple Daily, it is our annual Power of Sports auction benefiting the Courage Kenny Rehabilitation Institute, which works with children and adults who experience life-altering injuries and disabilities. And they offer a full range of innovative and rehab therapy, so physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech. We've had people in our lives, and you will meet some of them throughout the week, that have had major incidents or have had things happen that requires a long road back to recovery. And so our goal is to raise $20,000 with your help, hopefully, amazing listeners and viewers here. And we have a bunch of great things for you to bid and buy on all week long at scorenorth.com/bid. The Vikings-related things in particular, dinner with the Purple Daily crew, plus a Justin Jefferson signed jersey and Harrison Smith signed football as part of that package. You can also, football-loving friends, if you've ever wanted to hang out with Thor Nystrom in a college football suite, we'll be doing that on Thursday, August 28th. A full suite for you, your friends, your coworkers. Are these going fast?
They're going fast, man. Only 8 left.
Okay. Or maybe those are pairs. Either way, there's only 8 left at scorenorth.com/bid. So again, there's like there's probably 20 or 25 things that you can check out full information at scorenorth.com/bid. So Judd, are you ready to deliver your 53-man roster to us?
Been ready since yesterday when I sat down and grinded through it again. Took 1.0, made it 2.0, made some interesting changes because things have evolved. So yes, I am ready.
Okay. Let's do it. What side of the football are we?
Offense. We'll start with offense.
Special teams?
Yep. I think we're going to go...
the punting battle?
It breaks down, because I've counted about 18 times. It breaks down 24 on offense, 26 on defense, and 3 special teams.
Feels a little short on offense, not going to lie. Based on what I've seen in practice.
It was, I believe
like 30 offensive players, it seems like.
I believe they went in with 24 last year as well. But I do have some changes. All right, let's start at quarterback, where we keep 3, which the Vikings will do. J.J. McCarthy, Sam Howell. Impressive enough on Saturday that certainly he sticks now. And there is a change, though. Max Brosmer is your number 3 now, and Brett Rippon is cut. I believe he has, because of the new practice squad rules in the last, 5 years, I believe he has practice squad eligibility. I mean, I think he's a coach in waiting, so he's a guy that probably, he wants to stay in quarterback rehab school, as I am wearing the shirt.
Look at you, yeah.
Not because it can fix him, but because he knows he can be a counselor. So he's fixed already. but he's not going to be good enough. And Max Brosmer's put, on Saturday, he put some pretty impressive things on tape. For the most part, I'm like, go ahead and cut a guy in the final cuts because the cuts there's so many players that flood the wire that for the most part, you can get guys through to your own practice squad. But I don't think quarterbacks are the same as, let's say, you cut a offensive guard that you liked, but you don't think that you can keep him. So McCarthy, Howell, Brosmer, Brett Rippon, unlike 1.0, is the guy out this time.
So Brett, are you saying like Brett Rippon he's gone through his quarterback rehab school undergrad. He's pursuing a master's so that he can potentially be a teacher of the quarterback rehab school principles in the future. Okay.
Yes. In fact, the quarterback coach, I believe it's starting this season. He was on the staff last year with the Packers, but he's been elevated to quarterback coach is Sean Mannion.
Mm-hmm.
And he was probably destined, as we actually saw him play against the Packers when Kirk had COVID or was on the COVID list. We actually saw, what Sean was, which was not much of a pro quarterback, but he was a smart one, and he definitely benefited from being around smart quarterback people. So I think Brett Rippon is probably on that same track, if that is the career he chooses.
Are we, okay, on the Brosmer thing, I know that yesterday's brunch edition of Purple Daily, where we recapped the first preseason game, it did turn into just kind of a Max Brosmer propaganda fest, and I'm guilty of that. Are we trying to manifest Brosmer QB3 ahead of Rippon, or do you think this is an actual thing that they are going to do here in a couple weeks?
So first of all, the reason why I'm not over the moon about the Howell performance is I've seen enough in practices to be like, okay, that was good enough. Now let's see more. But the Howell performance on Saturday was also very much what was the young man's name? Kyle Sloter?
Yeah.
He's been in the
well,
news.
there's a clip of him.
I know.
It's like a podcast clip. He said that Vikings coaches told him, you need to not play as well if you want to make this team.
Yeah, because Kirk wouldn't like you then. But Kyle was a preseason just absolute star. And so Howell played well, but in practices, I've still not been thoroughly impressed. Opposite with Brosmer. I've told you guys, he has been the best quarterback not named J.J. McCarthy on days at practice. That includes Sam Howell and Rippon. So this is not just a sample size of, he played well in the fourth quarter, so this is a guy who played well in practice, took it to a game. So that's where I don't think that this is just propaganda. If you are going to play well in practice, which Sloter never did, that's the thing is everyone said he looks terrible in practice, and the fans are like, but he plays so great in the preseason games. But if you're going to put together imagine this, it's a quarterback portfolio. It is a quarterback portfolio, and Brosmer's coming in and putting it on your desk, and you're flipping through it, and you're like, oh, this is pretty impressive. Even when you're not looking, you see things about, that's impressive. So that's where I don't think that this is propaganda. It would be propaganda if you look crappy in practice and then had a good fourth quarter in the game on Saturday.
They do, like we were kind of talking offline, like Caleb Williams didn't play in the Bears preseason game, and people are wondering how can that be? Well, with these joint practices and with like what they do in these full padded practices just in front of fans and whatnot, coaches value that work more than they do like McCarthy's the 13 play drive that, of course, we're going to break it down for 45 minutes the next day on a podcast, but they'll put some time into that. And there's a couple things here and there, but the sheer mass of reps that you get against your own defense, against the Patriots later this week, like Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson said he got 70 live reps against, I can't remember who they played in their joint practice.
Dolphins, yeah.
So it's like, obviously playing him in a game would be, maybe we consider that for the second preseason game, but you're right. What they see at practice is going to outweigh what they see in a preseason game. So nice drive by Howell, 94 yards, but does it make up for just some slow decision making and some errant throws and things that you've seen on the day-to-day grind?
It's also held
tease.
Sorry, Dex.
My hottest take is evolved around the QB2 discussion. Little tease for today.
Okay.
Little tease. I have a hottest take on the backup quarterback.
Okay. Stick around, kids. Yes.
I also think one important thing to keep in mind too about what Phil just said is the quarterbacks in the Vikings practice are going against the B flow defense in which he's not pulling punches. Now the quarterback can't be hit, so that does help. But and this applies to McCarthy too. Everything we saw on Saturday, D'Amico Ryans did nothing to really, really stop it. Like, that was as vanilla as you can possibly get. So I think that doubles down on your point, which is what transpires in practice is as or more important, because when you're going against a defense that is really not trying to throw curveballs, it makes it much simpler. But of course, suddenly the regular season starts and you're seeing stunts and you're seeing different types of blitzes. And so I do think that there is something to be said for, hey, it's good to play in games. There's a pressure there. You actually can be hit. But you weigh everything, and practices count a lot.
And I want to clarify something on vanilla, like just with the Texans, for example, but this applies to every team in the preseason. Vanilla doesn't mean that you're not blitzing or that you're not running. Like, they ran some stunts. In fact, there's a couple great, the all-22 is floating around. There's a couple great little clips of like Brian O'Neill and Will Fries and Ryan Kelly handling a little twist action in giving JJ McCarthy time. It's that they're not game planning all week to hurt your weaknesses or to take advantage of your weaknesses. Right. So like when we talk about vanilla defenses during these preseason games, it's more about the preparation or the lack thereof. They're working on their own stuff all week at practice, and then, it's time to play the Vikings. Right. We'll just, instead of let's grind for 70 hours what the Vikings' weaknesses are and try to attack them like you see in the regular season.
Yep, you are seeing absolutely nothing that's surprising. So anyway, I just think that that's how you sort of take the whole stew. If there's a practice stew for quarterbacks and you mix it up as opposed to, hey, the preseason games were great, so he should start. No, at the end of the day, Kyle Sloter should not have started. All right, running backs. I have increased this number by 1. So I've taken away from a position. I have added to a position. The Vikings, coming out of training camp last year in final cuts, kept 2 running backs, Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler. And then they kept, of course, fullback C.J. Ham. So running back-wise, though, I have Aaron Jones, obviously, Jordan Mason, obviously, Xavier Scott, though, who played well on Saturday and has looked impressive in training camp. I have him being kept now, which means Ty Chandler is cut, Trey Stewart is cut. So I've reversed it a little bit, and we'll get to where I actually took the position down by 1. But running back, I'm going up by 1 with Xavier Scott being the new addition.
Yeah. Again, I have to ask, much like Max Brosmer, are we overreacting to a nice showing in a preseason game and some buzz at camp here? Is this something that Sports Dad is manifesting, or do you think that Xavier Scott is actually on the Week 1 roster?
I think as things stack up right now, he is on the day they make the cuts roster.
And then there's the waiver wire period.
Yeah, and I'll give you the logic why, but I think that there's an argument to be made that when it's Jones and Mason, that you should keep a third. But I don't know that means he'll be on the Week 1 game night, September 8th, right? The Monday night roster. And I don't know that he won't bounce back and forth at times, that he could become a guy that goes practice squad, active practice squad. But I do think that he gets kept. And just to go back through this quickly, C.J. Ham gets kept. So the backfield now has 4 guys. But that gets us to your next point about, okay, so how are you doing this, Sports Dad? How are you making this work? Because it's all in the math. And we all know that Declan and Sports Dad suck at math. Okay, here's how. Coming out of training camp last year, the Vikings kept 6 wide receivers. Well, let's play a game. It's called Let's Have a Stash.
Declan's been playing that game for
a long
quite
time.
Some time, actually.
Well, the Vikings are about to, Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi are about to jump on the Let's Have a Stash game show because Jordan Addison, because of a suspension, will start the season on a restricted list, which means he is not going to count against the 53, okay? So the wide receivers go from my 1.0 projection of 6 down to 5 for the time being. Mm-hmm. Justin Jefferson, Jalen Naylor, Lucky Jackson, who I was cutting in 1.0, but I think he's had a really good training camp. I am not going to cut him. And that's a training camp thing more so than like the Texans game. he was fine there, but he's just at a really good camp. Ty Felton, in my opinion, the 3rd-round pick, still sort of a project. I think he's going to return kicks, though, and he's a 3rd-round pick. He's making it. And then my 5th and final for now is Tim Jones, the veteran signed from Jacksonville. Good on special teams, good blocker downfield, and teams prioritize that. Like a lot of wide receivers don't like to block.
Yeah.
And so my cuts are Silas Bolden, the UDFA from Texas, who replaced Rondale Moore as the primary punt returner on Saturday. Dante Fleming, Jashawn Jones, Robert Lewis, who I don't know if he's taken a snap in training camp. He's been hurt. Miles Price, Thayer Thomas, and then the aforementioned Jordan Addison on the restricted list, and then the injured reserve, of course. I think we'll probably learn this today. Rondale Moore, who looked like he suffered a serious knee injury on Saturday.
So tough, man.
So 5 receivers for now. Again, could you flip this before opening night? Yes, but I'm giving you my 53 on cutdown day.
All right, I think, I mean, the obvious worry here is with Addison out, I mean, yes, you've got the best receiver in the NFL. So it's not like some of the years back in the day where you don't have anyone, or, you know, we've talked about the Bobby Wade's your number 1 receiver. So it's like you got the luxury of Justin Jefferson, which alleviates some of what I'm about to say. But beyond Jalen Naylor, you got 3 dudes, and I'm not blaming Sports Dad here, but you got 3 dudes, Lucky Jackson, who's played in 14 different professional football leagues, but has never caught a regular season NFL pass, right? Ty Felton has never caught a regular season NFL pass.
Yes.
And Tim Jones, who was undrafted out of Southern Mississippi, spent a few years with Jacksonville, but over 3 years active with Jacksonville, caught a total of 17 passes for 9 yards per reception. He's never scored an NFL touchdown. So you've got 3 dudes that it's great. It's the 3rd preseason game, and Lucky Jackson's going to catch 8 passes for 100 yards, but there's a different level up when you get to the regular season. And I just wonder, you need one of those 3 guys in the first 3 weeks to catch passes in regular season games. Period, right?
Or, and this is where Sports Dad works the back door of the roster construction. So I'm doing the cutdowns as of cutdown day. This is where I think you go to the waiver wire.
Sure.
You claim a receiver, and then Xavier Scott is down for the Bears game. So this is where I think it makes sense. Because, like, here's the thing. So let's say that I keep a 6th guy, okay? Let's say I keep Jashawn Jones, right? That doesn't, like, make you like, oh, okay, you kept the 6th guy. I think they need to go find, and they might do that now. So 3.0 might actually have that guy. But I think you need to go find a guy. And so there's nobody, as I went down the current roster and the cut down list, I didn't say, oh boy, you know, if I cut Miles Price, I'm going to be in trouble. So there's just nobody else on that list, the cut list that I gave you, Phil, that is a sufficient replacement. So I think for the actual game night that there's a very good chance that there is a unknown name as the 6th guy, and then Scott goes down.
Okay, do you think, I mean, the biggest household, just big name out there that's still a free agent is 31-year-old Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
And he's certainly not the same guy he was 2-3 years ago. I mean, I think football life kind of came at Amari Cooper fast.
Yeah.
Now, in fairness to him, Cleveland had just a hodgepodge of random quarterbacks, so he might argue, get me somewhere where I can. But the problem is he's going to have no experience or timing with the system, with the quarterback. He went to Buffalo and didn't make a ton of big catches and plays because he came in so late, sort of halfway through the year. But 31 years old, he's not that old, and he's the name that keeps being pushed on any team that might need a wide receiver right now. You have to think he's going to play in 2025. Amari Cooper do anything for you?
As far as the Vikings think, probably not. It's not sexy, and it's going to bore you to death. But my guess is they pick up a guy that can return punts as well off the wire, or they call, and this is going to cause eyes to roll, Brandon Powell. He's still out there.
Yeah.
And they know him. To your point about Cooper, he knows the system. He's not great, but he's a pro. and I'm assuming he stayed in shape, and he has been here for 2 years. So they could do Brandon Powell right now, which would not shock me entirely. Do I think it's going to be a name where we're like, oh, cool? No. But I also don't think I cut a bunch of guys that probably should be cut, and I don't see the other guy, the potential sixth guy yet.
Yeah. It'd be nice if, I think at some point in the future, they have a vision for Ty Felton being solidly in this mix but week one, that feels like a stretch. There's just a lot of development that likely needs to take place there.
Agreed.
So, okay. We move into the tight end room here now?
We are. Oh, man, of course we are.
Let's just go walk in that tight end room real quick. Okay.
Okay, status quo from 1.0 to 2.0 tight ends. We keep 3. TJ Hawkinson, Josh Oliver. For now, and it's funny, on Saturday it felt like they really rotated them through. So I don't know that one guy stood out. I am going to keep the Stanford turned Georgia kid Ben Urasek, and I'm going to cut Bryson Nesbitt, Giovanni Ricci, Nick Vanette, who was just brought in, and then it's very clear that that late round draft pick Gavin Bartholomew is going to end up on IR with a back. Okay. I mean, we have not seen him. I don't think he's coming back soon. He has missed too much training camp time, certainly to contribute immediately, so that's probably a pipe dream. So Hawkinson, Oliver, Urasek are my tight end room.
Nick Vanette is interesting, not because he's like some high-end tight end, but just because he's such a trusted, wily veteran. He spent, this is now his 10th year in the NFL and like his 8th team, and he did start 10 games for the Titans last year. So, and he has started, even the year before that with the Chargers, he started a handful of games. So he's been a starter for at least a small handful of games every year he's been in the NFL. And I think this is just, I mean, you've got Nick Vanette, who's probably at the last year or two of his veteran tight end career, but he knows the NFL waters for a decade, versus some of these undrafted free agent types that have never really been given a chance, but they're 8 years younger or whatever it is. What does Kevin O'Connell prefer for that third tight end spot is the question here.
So in the Star Tribune, I think it was on Saturday, Mark Craig, my former colleague, had an interesting piece on Urasek's career and the fact that at Stanford, he was a big-time receiving tight end, went to Georgia and became a blocking guy.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's a pretty savvy, smart dude. So if I could go with the young guy as my third guy, I probably would. But yes, there is a question. Do they value the veteran experience, which I could see. Among the cut downs, this to me is not a sexy one. Like it's not like, oh, there's a huge race here or something. I think the fact that Bartholomew has not participated in camp is disappointing. Not because I thought that he would be great, but when I did roster projection 1.0, I went in thinking this is a guy who's going to make the roster probably and get some time, not a ton of time, certainly a ton of time on special teams. So I guess I'm a little bit disappointed there, but you're correct. You could decide, hey, the veteran guy is, at least for the short term, the best choice. So I could see that. Okay.
And that brings us to offensive line to round out the offense.
Meat and potatoes. No changes here. No changes here. I think it's pretty crystal clear. Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, Donovan Jackson, Christian Darrisaw, Brian O'Neill. So those are your starters. Backups: Blake Brandel, Michael Juergens, Walter Rouse, Justin School, who still has an outside chance of being your opening night left tackle, depending on the Darrisaw progress. Mm-hmm. And then that means our cuts are guards: Henry Bird, Rashawn Lee, Joe Huber, tackles Logan Brown, Leroy Watson IV, Matt Nelson, who I believe Doogie told us got hurt in the nighttime practice last Monday. And then IR, it looks like for sure, the guy that was playing center behind Michael Juergens, Zeke Correll, who fractured his ankle.
Yeah, there's some interesting pieces here. They like Rouse, and Rouse has been running with the twos quite a bit throughout practice and whatnot.
He's playing, I believe he is the second team right tackle and the third team left tackle.
Yep. But they've like with Huber and Brown.
Yeah.
Those are guys that they seem to, well, I think they really like Huber. Logan Brown was, by all accounts and by the consensus big board, the number one undrafted free agent on the board, and the Vikings got him. And he's been with Wisconsin and then Kansas, right tackle, but he was on the left tackle part of the depth chart, but he played exclusively right tackle, I think, in the fourth quarter of that preseason game. And I've texted you guys, I was keeping my eyes on him. He's Jeremiah's client. And he literally, now his run blocking, I guess we'll see. And it was the fourth quarter of a preseason game. But on that Max Brosmer touchdown drive, Logan Brown sat every single edge rusher that came at him with zero problems. And so he was very highly regarded as a pass protector in college. And he put some great tape out there in the fourth quarter. I wonder if with some of the injuries around the league, with Huber and Brown, if you would run the risk of losing one of those guys to a 53-man roster. But they've got some interesting talent, and they like Rouse, and they seem to like Juergens because right now he is their backup second-string center, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't keep 12 of these guys or even 11 of these guys. Looks like they're going to keep 9. Sometimes you see teams stretch it to 10. But either way, they're probably going to have to expose a talented young offensive lineman or two to the waiver process.
Yes. And this is where the day that this would be done, the market is so saturated that teams are so focused on their own players and trying to get them back. Now, again, I'll go back to if it's a quarterback, that changes things. Like a quarterback, if there's a quarterback that you saw on tape and liked and his name hits the wire, I think that there is probably a good chance that he gets grabbed. But if the market is flooded with like guards and tackles, right? So I think your hope or your expectation is everyone's so consumed with trying to keep the majority of the guys that they like, because the practice squads are so damn big now too. Like that's the thing too. These practice squads are what, 17 guys? They're huge. So,
Yeah. Yep. So, okay, those are your 24 offensive players. It sounds to me like you're projecting Brett Rippon might have some more time to go golfing on his hands at the end of training camp. Where could he book a tee time, Dex?
Go to golfthemeadows.com. Go to golfthemeadows.com to book that next tee time. Plus, they have a great, humongous patio, too, so you can enjoy a fresh, cold one before, in the middle, in the after of your round. Doesn't matter. And if you're coming up for a Vikings game, stop at the Meadows at Mystic Lake. Bring the sticks up. Put them in the trunk. Go to golfthemeadows.com to book that next tee time.
Speaking of rebuilding the roster here, reconstructing some of these position groups, Minnesota Rusco can help you rebuild or remodel that thing you've been thinking about, that bathroom project, that kitchen project. They can't really remake your offensive line, unfortunately. The Vikings did that on their own. But Minnesota Rusco has been Minnesota's hometown remodeler since 1955. 70 years of experience with windows, doors, siding, bathrooms, kitchens, decks, roofing. And it's State Fair season here. I mean, we're going to be at the State Fair every weekday starting August 21st. So we're going to be there from noon to 3 every day. Minnesota Rusco is offering their biggest savings of the year with their State Fair sale. So you'll pay nothing on whatever remodel project that you choose. You'll pay nothing for 2 full years. No down payment, no monthly payments, no interest for 2 full years, and free labor. So find out more at minnesotarusco.com if you're looking to make that remodel a reality. Trust the experts, and we appreciate their partnership here, keeping Purple Daily a 365-day-a-year show. All right. The defense. We're looking for 26 defensive players here. Sports Father.
by my count, you have them. Say a prayer that I'm correct on the math, and let's go. And we're off. Defensive line, I do have one change. Kept on the roster, obviously. Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, who's missed 3 of the last 4 practices. He didn't play on Saturday. Now, a bunch of veterans did not, so that was not surprising. But I asked O'Connell, I said, we didn't get to ask you about this, but he has been scarce at practice of late. And O'Connell said he's okay.
Mind your business, sports
and
dad.
that he should be good to go in the joint practices. Or as O'Connell initially called them, the joints, before saying, by joints, I mean practices, to which we all chuckled.
What about after practice, Kevin?
Exactly right. So Javon Hargrave, 2, Harrison Phillips, 3, Jalen Redmond, Ingram Dawkins. What the pronunciation of the first name again?
It's Tyrion.
Tyrion, okay.
I think it's Tyrion.
Tyrion.
I don't think it's Tyrion. I think it's Tyrion.
Okay, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. And then my new keeper is number 6, so it's the same amount of guys I've just flipped to. I'm keeping Levi Drake Rodriguez, who no question is getting a lot of second team rotational time. I am cutting Travis Bell, Jonathan Harris. Now here's a guy who flashed on Saturday, Elijah Williams. I'm cutting him, and then the cut of the guy that did make it originally, and now I have on the street at least for a little while, Taki Taimani. Feels like Taki has definitely fallen behind, but the 6 names I gave you are either starters or what appear to be the main rotational guys. So Allen, Hargrave, Phillips, Redmond, Ingram Dawkins, Levi Drake Rodriguez.
Yeah. Yeah, they gave, so in terms of like pecking order here, yeah, Levi Drake Rodriguez, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, and Jalen Redmond are definitively from day one of training camp and in that preseason game, the second string defensive line behind the 3 starters that you mentioned first. So yeah, Taki Taimani and anybody else are outside of that group of 6. You just drafted Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, so he's on the, like, it was a 5th round pick, right? You're not cutting him, and he's running with the 2s, so he's in for sure.
Yeah, he's good.
Are you going to cut? Jalen Redmond had some really good snaps at the end of the regular season for a 14-win team last year, and Levi Drake Rodriguez continues to just be put in positions of, it seems like the coaching staff likes him. So
yes,
yeah, it's a deep group. It went from being a really thin, weak group a year ago to being one of the deepest groups maybe in the NFL, provided Hargrave and Jonathan Allen stay healthy.
Right. But it's nice that they're not trying to pick up like a former first-round scrap heap guy. Jerry Tillery, right? Like Jerry Tillery, we signed him. It's like, okay, he's sort of been suspect. It's nice that they actually, yes, there are probably some injury concerns on Allen and Hargrave, but they're also known commodities if healthy. I feel like the Vikings said, the fixer-upper defensive line not working so well, so let's actually go address it. Let's go buy a nice home. And now they've got a nice defensive line home. And
you're still looking, Hargrave and Allen are on the wrong side of 30, and Harrison Phillips is getting up there too. So you're still, at some point, you're going to have to fire a first-round pick on somebody that you could hope becomes an 8-year starter. But in the absence of that, when you got dudes like Hargrave and Allen available, go throw a couple bucks on them and fix it like they did.
Right, and I do think an important point, too, is this. Ingram Dawkins, Levi Drake, and Redmond now have a chance to ascend slowly. Like, they're going to be big rotational guys, but you're also not throwing them out there and saying start.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be completely shocked if a couple of those guys actually, with the playing time that they're going to get now, and by the way, watching professional veterans, if that helps their play to make them prepared to step in to start in a year or two. I like what they've done. Let's just say that. They've redone the house, and I like it.
That's right. All right. Let's go to the edge of the house. Let's go to the trimmings.
The edge room. The edge room, which overlooks the ocean. You want to talk about the real estate here? High priced.
That's MinnesotaRusco.com.
It's
like
1955.
Just looking over the ocean, cup of coffee in hand, gorgeous deck, Carmel, California. We are in the high rent district of the football team defensively. Outside linebackers, 5 with no changes. Jonathan Grenard, the Ginkster, Dallas Turner, Phil's guy, Gabriel Murphy, who on Saturday, and by the way, he's looked good all camp again. He's a guy that's
great
looked
last
good.
camp as well.
Yeah, he did. Bo Richter sticks, just in part because he is a very, very effective special teams player. The cuts then, Tyler Batty and Chaz Chambliss, who started training camp on the pup. Actually, I thought on Saturday played pretty well, but there is nobody of the 5 I gave you, the keepers, that I would cut. And so I think that edge room is in great shape, and I can't tell you how important that is to this football team.
I mean, let's have a Gabe Murphy conversation here.
I think you should.
He was inexplicably undrafted out of UCLA after being one of the best edge rushers in all of America at a Power 5 conference. Vikings bring him in. It's becoming a trend where they go get the premier undrafted free agent, pay him a couple extra bucks, bring him in after the draft. Ivan Pace was one of those guys too.
No question.
And he comes in and he was running with the first team defense at chunks last season at training camp a year ago. Then he gets hurt, kind of falls behind, and all right, we got Patrick Jones, Dallas Turner, and he was kind of just behind the. If you're not in the group of four, you're probably not part of the rotation. Well, Patrick Jones becomes a free agent, so Gabriel Murphy is solidly in that second rotation with Dallas Turner. So he winds up playing 30 snaps in that preseason game, and he hit the quarterback 5 times, 2 sacks officially, and 3 hits that were very clean and very painful for Houston Texans quarterback. So I remember making that little write that down prediction, or if it was like a hottest take, I can't remember the context, but you all laughed when I said,
no one laughed
at Gabriel Murphy. Not
no,
you guys.
No, you're paranoid now. Nobody laughed at you. I gave you credit because I hadn't really seen it, but I watched it. He has a motor that doesn't stop.
Dude, he is super intense. He's a machine.
Yep.
And he's for sure going to play regular snaps in that Patrick Jones role. Or I guess technically Dallas Turner kind of steps into that like number 3 role and then.
Right.
Okay, but those 4 guys are going to play, and he's going to do some damage in actual regular season games.
Yeah. In fairness to Gabe again, I think that Dallas Turner came in so chiseled and has looked really good in practices that the conversation about Gabe has been pushed off. But after what we did see on Saturday with his ability to just track down the Texans QBs, he's gonna get the love that he deserves off of that. And that's one where just in a game when you see a guy that doesn't stop, like he's relentless. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I agree. He has been great. He makes the team, and I think he's going to find a way. If he continues this, Brian Flores is going to find a way to play him.
Yeah. Yeah, a reminder in college. So this would have been 2023 for UCLA. And when you just look at like total pressures, he was right there with some of the like Jared Verse and Dallas Turner in terms of productivity. Bo Richter was pretty high on some of those lists too. So they've got talent, man, along the defensive line and the edge room. There's not a lot of teams in the NFL that run as deep as the Vikings do with the 11 guys that you just listed on this 53.
Is there any team, and my guess is that this is a rhetorical question, the answer is no, that since 2022 has so many suspect draft picks and so many hits in the undrafted market?
It's kind of, and remember, Andre Carter was another one, and you're not going to hit on all these guys, and he's out of the equation now. But yeah, interesting position group here. So 11 guys. I don't see any. That feels like a little bit of a bloated number, but I don't see any that make sense to cut here. So I think Bo Richter might be probably the 11th of terms of the 2 position groups here. But you're right. Like, he's versatile. He's a classic special teams multi-phase special teams guy. Yeah.
Gotta have him. Okay. Inside linebacker room. It's not sexy, but it's extremely important. 4 guys kept. Blake Cashman, 6th round 2025 selection out of Penn State, Kobe King. Ivan Pace, another special teams ace, and a guy that I think is actually going again to get snaps at the inside linebacker spot, Eric Wilson. I'm cutting Brian Asamoah, Austin Keys, Dorian Mousy, Mausi. And Asamoah, so in fairness to Asamoah, I have seen him playing special teams. So I don't know that switch with Kobe King is as simple as I thought going into camp, because he's a good special teams player, and he is still very much getting a chance with the second team defense. So I don't think a decision's been made there, but just as a projection, I think that they keep the current draft pick as opposed to the former pick. And so it's Blake Cashman, Kobe King, Ivan Pace, Eric Wilson. Okay.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Asamoah is right there on the 53-man cut line. If there was like this was bracketology and you had like first 4 in or whatever last 4 in or first 4, whatever it is.
Yep, first 4 in.
He'd be in one of those categories for sure.
Yes. So, and just as an aside, if that happens, if Asamoah and Chandler are cut, I think you are down to one member of the 2022 draft class left, and that would be Jalen Naylor.
Naylor.
I think that would be it. All right, cornerbacks. In 1.0, I kept 7. Last year, they kept 6. And I told you when we did 1.0, I said this number is going to come down. And sure enough, it has. Partially because the Vikings are being creative and moving some of their cornerbacks to safety. So here we go. 6 guys. Byron Murphy Jr., starter. Isaiah Rodgers, starter. Jeff Okudah, right now a starter in the nickel. Mekhi Blackman, who I thought was going to get a chance to compete with Okudah, but he has not. Dwight McGlothern, and then I am keeping another, just like Dwight, I'm keeping another UDFA, this one from the 2025 class, Zamiah Vaughn.
Wow.
He's got the length. I think he can play. So that means I'm cutting, and I'm going to cut 3 names, and it's not going to be like, oh, so you kept Zamiah Vaughn over one of these guys. Keenan Garber, Reddy Stord, Ambry Thomas, who, by the way, I like. And I think he's a practice squad guy.
You picked off a pass in that.
He did pick off a pass.
And he let the world know about it.
Well,
I'm here.
Yeah,
all right, we got it. We see you.
I'm him. But I would just like to say one thing. I mean, preseason games are bad, okay? Especially late. The Houston Texans forcing me to watch Graham Mertz play quarterback in a National Football League game has done permanent damage. Like, he was a bad college quarterback. He was supposed to be the Wisconsin savior, eventually went to Florida. He was no good. And I had no idea that he was in a camp. And to know that he was in the same building I was, and that I had to watch him, I will be seeking football therapy later today.
It was a tough scene out there. It's always funny when you get some non-NFL quarterback who's filling a training camp roster, throws a terrible pass, and you pick it off, and it's nice. Like, it's you make a big play or whatever. You got 50,000 people in the stadium. You're jacked up, but then you celebrate like it's Sunday night football for the division, week 18. But and then did you mention? Is it Khalef Halasi who picked off 2 passes?
He's been moved. You got to wait for this. He's a safety now.
Okay, because he's still classified as a cornerback.
That's why sports dad's here.
This is why sports camp notes exist.
We got guys moving left and right, okay? This is a defense. The B-Flow defense is one in which, let's just say, head on a swivel, and I don't mean quarterbacks. I mean reporters. All right. So initially I kept 4 safeties in 1.0. The Vikings kept 5 last year, and now I am up to 5. So we are now back to what the Vikings did a year ago in Final Cuts. 6 corners, 5 safeties. Those 5, Josh Metellus, Harrison Smith, Theo Jackson, Jay Ward, and then the aforementioned, at least for now, Khalif Hulasi, who picked off 2 passes on Saturday and was moved like a week ago from a corner spot to a safety spot.
Wow.
That means I'm cutting Javarius Owens, Michelle Powell, and Taviar Thomas. And Thomas was a cornerback himself originally. He has also been moved to safety. So Hulasi for now makes the team as my 5th safety. This is also assuming that he can play on special teams, obviously.
Yeah. So I think is it Halasi? You're saying Hulasi, but it's Hail Halasi, right?
Hulasi.
Halasi.
It's phonetically small HUH hyphen loss hyphen EE. And loss is capitalized. Halasi.
Okay. Yeah, he was undrafted, the vaunted Western Kentucky Hilltoppers in 2023, and he was identified by the Chiefs as an undrafted free agent. Bounces over to Cleveland last year, where he played 116 snaps, and then and this is actually I'm looking at those are preseason snaps, I believe. So did he play? He has not played
Cleveland.
He did play 100 regular season snaps with Cleveland in 23. Yep, that's it. But it's been a couple years. So, but yeah, dude, he was couple interceptions. Who was the Audi Cole was the 2 interception? Didn't he house call 2 of them like 10 years ago
against Buffalo at the Metrodome?
Kind of reminded me of that.
Very exciting stuff.
Yep. So, wow, there it is. Let's
so
check your math. You got 11, 15, 26.
So we should be at 50 right now.
We are. We're at 50.
All right. And then your three specialists, no surprises. Will the Thrill, Reichard, Ryan Wright, Andrew DePaula is the long snapper, and then the practice squad exemption, so he won't even count on the practice squad, will be Oscar Chapman, who I thought had a very nice punt. I like this kid. He's got that Australian thing where he's got like 8 different types of punts. He's got the flop.
Different leg angles.
He's got the pancake. He's got all of these things. So Oscar Chapman is your practice squad guy. But no changes then in the specialists. So that is 53.
Wow. Nice job. Judd Zolgad. Judd's camp notes.
We'll do a 3.0 at some point too.
So I think maybe we go through the next 2 preseason games.
Yeah.
Because then there's
Right
usually
before final cuts.
They play the last preseason game, then there's usually a day or two, or do they cut the day after the preseason game?
I've been meaning to look that up, the date of the cuts this year, because of the 3. I'm now thrown off because instead of 4 preseason games, it's 3.
Let's actually go through this quickly, and then Declan's going to give us the hottest Vikings take of the week in a second. But if this was bracketology, who would be the last 4 in? Like the 4 guys that are on, but they're right. It's 53, 52, 51, and 50. Halasi.
Yep. Zamiah Vaughn, probably.
Zamiah Vaughn.
The linebackers, it's Kobe King or Asamoah, but they're keeping a 4th regardless.
And I don't think and King was a 5th rounder, right? I just don't think you're
6th round pick.
6th round.
But I think he sticks. Bo Richter to me is a lock because of what he brings special teams wise.
How about Levi Drake Rodriguez? Maybe
that's a good one. I don't think
maybe Xavier Scott, I guess. But
I don't think there's an offensive line one because Juergens, you have to keep him. If you don't have a backup center, he is your backup center.
And School is your starting left tackle if Darisaw can't, so he's on. Brandel is your ultimate swing guy and was a starter for you last year.
Yep.
So that would mean if you kept only 8 offensive linemen, or if you kept 9 and instead of Rouse, it was like Huber. But they like Rouse.
They like Rouse. His versatility is huge, playing both tackles. The tight end room, it's definitely, Yurusek definitely qualifies as a last one in. Definitely.
Yep. And Tim Jones, too, would be in that discussion.
Xavier Scott does as well.
Okay.
At running back.
So guys we did not mention that are like McLaughlin's a lock at this point, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Gabe Murphy, lock. Okay.
And there's certain positions.
Ty Felton's not quite ready necessarily to catch a bunch of passes in a regular season game. He's a 3rd round pick and he's super talented. So he's a
There are certain position groups at which this team is very solid, like the edge group. I think they're incredibly solid.
They are. What's funny is this is for as strong as their quarterback room depth-wise was last year. You had Sam Darnold, former 3rd overall pick, and J.J. McCarthy, a top 10 pick on ice, and then Nick Mullins, a reliable veteran backup, and then you brought in another 5th or 6th overall pick in Daniel Jones.
Yep.
And now it's what are maybe this is a deeper conversation for another day, but the weakest position groups here, quarterback. Let's just be honest, fair, right?
Yep.
Until McCarthy proves it.
The depth at
probably
wide receiver is
depth,
concerning. Yeah. The depth there is concerning. The offensive line, I think, is actually strong now.
Agreed.
I like that room. I like the defensive line room now. Now, of course, if guys get hurt, that changes, but you could say that about any position group. The edge room, I think, is strong. I think the inside linebacker room has been improved. Cornerback is still a bit of a question, probably.
Yeah.
It's far from solidified completely.
Jeff Okudah's name is doing a lot of work and carrying a lot of water on this roster right now. Because you know what you're getting in Murphy. You think you know what you're getting in Rodgers.
Right.
You hope you're getting something that he hasn't brought before in Okudah.
Yes.
And then Blackman, you're hoping can stay healthy and be what you drafted him to be. A lot of hope.
Yeah. On Blackman, it's a little bit odd, too. I mean, I thought there would be no question that starting training camp, there would be a competition between Blackman and Okudah. And there has been 0. And Blackman played, if you saw this on Saturday, deep into the second half.
Yeah.
And now he missed a year, so that's fine. But the point is, I don't know if Blackman is just coming back slowly. He's not a very big guy. I don't know exactly what it is, but the difference in how he was treated pre-injury to now makes him. I basically use the bias of before he got hurt, right? Like he's going to challenge for a job. I mean, hell, he played. And it's very clear he's not, in their mind, the same guy right now. So you could definitely say, I think if we were to talk about depth of position concern, where the top of the position group is okay, but the depth is a concern. Wide receiver for sure, and cornerback for sure.
Yeah. Okay, Declan has the hottest Vikings take of the week here, which is always brought to you by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, Dex. We might have a little
Yeah,
delay
so
there with
here,
Dex. Okay.
You're okay, yeah. Here you're looking live at my air conditioning unit. This is Cameron. Thank God he came over. He took a look at this disgusting old air conditioner that had a bunch of dust in it, and it wasn't looking good. And he was able to make sure it was all ship-shape and mutt back in working order. So shout out to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, making sure that air conditioning is working properly. Don't let your unit look like mine, and instead make sure you hire the experts at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Also, it's Prize Pick season. This episode brought to you by Prize Picks. And so you got preseason football, you got baseball, you got, I saw the Lynx. I watched part of that game. Actually, I put a whooping on the Liberty. You can combine sports. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season and also at the end of baseball season. Oh, here's our old nemesis, Carlos Correa. Like, you can choose more or less on a 5.5 fantasy score for him. Of course, he's going off now for the Astros. Hit a home run, I think it was yesterday. But it's really easy. You select between 2 and 6 players on the Prize Picks app. It takes less than 60 seconds. You pick more or less on their projected stats. You place your entry. Super, super easy. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code PURPLEDAILY to get $50 in lineups when you play just $5. That's code PURPLEDAILY on the Prize Picks app and get $50 in lineups when you play just $5. Prize Picks, run your game. Okay. What is your hottest Vikings take, Declan?
All right, so I have seen enough. Max Brosmer is the second best quarterback on the Vikings roster.
I love this take.
That is my hottest take. Did you know that Max Brosmer has thrown fewer interceptions in the last 5 years than Sam Howell has since 2023? Now, I'm using, obviously, a lot of college time there for Brosmer, but he's the same age. Both Sam Howell, Max Brosmer, 24 years old. And I get it, going from college to the NFL is a little bit different, but Brosmer stepped into a brand new offense with the Gophers last year and had a very productive year, and he isn't going to shipwreck games. Sam Howell will shipwreck games. Maybe the Judd Venom for Sam Howell has finally entered my veins.
Yeah.
But here's another hot take within it. If McCarthy goes down, Max Brosmer would lead the Vikings to a better record over a full season than Sam Howell would.
Oh, jeez.
So Brosmer is going to not crash this car. So, yeah, Sky Ma, row the boat, go Gophers. I've seen enough. Max Brosmer is the second best quarterback on the Vikings roster. That's my hottest take.
Oh, man. By the way, I'm here for all of the Max Brosmer propaganda. Row the boat, Skyma, go Gophers. What I find funny about this is it wasn't that long ago. I think it was last week where Declan was mocking and ridiculing the sports dad for always finding a way to slander Sam Howell.
That's still
and
true.
like 5 days later, he is saying, all right, in a game in which, by the way, Sam Howell orchestrated a 94-yard touchdown drive himself with several nice little throws, nice little plays, getting rid of the ball, tempo, all these things. And Max Brosmer against, I think it was probably third and maybe like fourth string Texans defensive players. But I mean, I don't know if I disagree. Like right now, if you threw Max Brosmer into the fire and said, all right, you get 17 games in this infrastructure and so does Sam Howell, would the results be drastically different?
Boy, I don't know. And again, I'll go back to what I've continued to say. There's been some days that Brosmer is the second best quarterback. Do I want to throw Brosmer into a regular season game right now? I would have my trepidation. I mean, hell, Jaron Hall got thrown in, and we saw that. But do I think that if I have a project on my roster or a player on my roster that I think over the long haul can be a better QB, I'm taking Brosmer for sure. So it's a little bit dicey. I would like to see them have a backup quarterback I trust more than the current backups on the roster. But I've seen enough from Brosmer to know that I want to keep seeing it, if that makes sense.
Also at the bare minimum for Brosmer, how there's what, anywhere between there's 90 to 100 quarterbacks on rosters throughout the NFL. Some teams keep 2, some teams keep 3. Then there's practice squad. But there's always guys like Tim Boyle. There's no reason at all in their statistical profile or their performance why they stick around on NFL teams. But they're there because of their quarterback energy, their leadership, their value in a film room. So at bare minimum, Max Brosmer, with all of those qualities that he exhibited with the Gophers and now with the Vikings, he's going to stick around for, I think, multiple years in NFL circles, at worst. And at best, it feels like there's a guy in there that could actually maybe start some games at some point. And then maybe he starts climbing the list, the Kurt Warners and the Tony Romos of great undrafted quarterbacks. But I like him. He's accurate.
Like I said, I'd keep him on the
roster. He can throw
roster.
those little intermediate passes. Let's go.
I'd keep him. I have no idea if you throw him in, if, knock on wood, if McCarthy gets hurt opening night and you throw Brosmer in, I have no clue what happens. But I do know that the way that he goes about his business, and the thing I like about Brosmer is it's not that he's by any means a perfect QB, but it feels like his weaknesses are offset by his smarts. You can tell he knows what he doesn't know, and you can tell that he knows not to do stupid things. And unfortunately, when he's gotten a chance to play, Sam Howell's track record is the exact opposite. So it makes me nervous a little bit what Declan is. Well, it makes me nervous to keep him as my primary backup, but I very much think he deserves a spot, as I just said, on the 53.
QB3 makes a lot of sense.
And Brett Rippon, you want to stick around? You stick around.
Do you really think? Here's the other thing, though. Do you really think that no one drafted Brosmer, so it's not like you'd be, are we going to cut the 6th round pick and then try to sneak him through waivers? Right. So every team passed on him in the draft.
Right.
And the only thing he's put on film distributed to the rest of the league is the 4th quarter of a preseason game.
Right.
So would there really be a risk if you would a team claim him to be on their 53 if you tried to sneak him to the practice squad? I mean, he could also decide to go to a different practice squad because it's a mutual decision.
It probably depends on what his next 2 games look like. I think McCarthy is done playing, so Howell starts the next 2 games. Brosmer, I mean, Brett Rippon, we just sort of saw it, right? Like, he played on Saturday. I think he threw 5 passes, completed 1. The other thing is, I think Brett Rippon probably needs to make a career decision here. Like, what direction do you want to go to? Because if you cut him, I don't think he gets signed. Like, he could retire. He could decide to go to a different practice squad or something. But I just think anything that Brosmer puts on film positive, I guess my question becomes, you don't want to play Brett. You want Brett in your room. That's what they want. But McCarthy has talked about that Max is great too. Like, Max is a student. This is what I like about him. He's a student of the game. He loves the game. You can tell he grinds film. I could see him as a coach someday. So I guess if Brett Rippon was a commodity, I would probably say I'd probably take a chance on Brosmer being snuck through the waiver wire. But he's not. He's a guy like Tim Boyle. He's just going to bounce around in perpetuity. If I was him, I would stay here and benefit from being in a great quarterback environment.
I would keep Brosmer and tell him just keep doing all of the PJ Fleck culture things, like sprinting from one end of the field to the other for the 4th quarter, using acronyms egregiously, telling when somebody asks you how you're doing, respond elite. We just need a little bit of PJ
egregious
Fleck in that
acronyms.
Hyperculture. There's a bunch of them.
Yes, there are.
I think they make you. I think you have to learn and know them to be part of the program.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Which means that you as a season ticket guy should have to learn them too, Phil. Since the Mackies have the nice.
Actually, we
luxury.
don't. We don't this year.
What
We don't.
happened?
We don't go to all the games.
Okay.
We're going to be selective with the games we go to, because it's like if by the end of the year you're a season ticket holder and it's like, all right, we had to miss 3 games or whatever because of different family plans and things. So we'll be at a bunch of games, but we are not officially season ticket holders this year. Still supporting.
I'm not questioning you, so you don't have to defend yourself.
Hey, if you agree vehemently or disagree with any of this 53-man roster projection, let us know in the YouTube comments. Click that like button and the subscribe button. And also don't forget about scorenorth.com/bid. Shout out to Rolex Vans, too, for their support of this Courage Kenny auction here, the Power of Sports auction, offering up some matching funds this week. Scorenorth.com/bid. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. We'll see you next time on Purple Daily.